Everybody, Matt Geary here for the Geek Podcast on this Monday evening. With me tonight, we don't have Peter Ray Allison. He is otherwise indisposed, but he's back in blue. Welcome back, Jonjo Cosgrove.
Hey, it's been such a long time.
It has. I was looking at the Skype, the chat thing where we use to sort of get in. To do the thing, and it says last chatted a year ago. So yeah, it's been a long time, Jonjo.
Welcome back. It's been such a weird year.
It has, and we finally met in person. We finally did the thing. We met in person.
Do you know what? That's obviously got to be the first talking point. Was it 2.5 months ago now? That's gone fast.
Very quickly.
We finally met face to face, and the first thing that happened was we embraced each other, which was quite a heroic, picturesque moment as well. It's like, yeah, and it was like, shit, you're actually about 6 inches taller than me.
I'm a big boy. I was very impressed, Jonjo. I was very impressed. The fact that you made it all the way, I wasn't expecting it at all, but just to sort of you'll try was meaningful. But you came all the way from London to Manchester and came out drinking with us. Actually, from Manchester to Chester. And it came out drinking with us. Yeah, very impressed, man.
That was so much fun. And do you know what? That was definitely such a fun night, because obviously before that night, the only people I'd actually ever conversed with in that group was you and your brother. So to actually, go out with a group of strangers, it's like, yeah, do you fancy drinking and throwing axes? Yeah, I'll go for that. That sounds good. And what was fun though was that as I was expecting, the Geary competition kicked in, especially when the results for the activities were being announced, and then your brother piped up, actually going, I think there's I'm not going to do the accent. I think there's something wrong with the score, and then your brother took my 3rd place position and got himself all the way up to first.
Yeah, he took Russell's first position, which he wasn't very impressed with.
But what was fun though was that you make Russell actually set a high score for the shooting at the venue we was at, so that was quite fun.
Yes, it was.
But he just done terrible on the axe throwing.
I've just realised I've put this down as Dungeons and Dragons on our Twitch. It's not Dungeons. This is.
We're going to disappoint some people tonight.
This is not Dungeons and Dragons.
To be fair, I think on the list that I've written down, I think we've got everything apart from Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah.
Yeah. So apologies for those watching on Twitch. This is not Dungeons and Dragons. That will be not this week, but the week after. We've had a bit of some downtime, but it's just a bit of a catch up. We've got no guest tonight. Pete's away. We did have a few people sort of lined up, but one thing or other hasn't fallen through. So Jonjo came back, saved the day, and we thought we'd talk about Deadpool. The Acolyte, which I've not seen, but I don't mind talking about if you want to talk about it.
I'll go into it. I won't go into it too much, because I know there's a lot of people that have. I know a lot of people are sort of a little bit unsure about the show, but then I told you about this before. I went to Star Wars Celebration, and bear in mind that was April last year, and they showed a trailer, first trailer for The Acolyte, and to me that was the show that really stuck out to me the most, because it was different. It was set. It was like the only thing that wasn't actually set amongst the Skywalker saga, so it was definitely different. And then when they bring out the cast onto the stage, and you go, my God, this is quite incredible. This is brilliant. And for me, the show I really enjoyed. I think there was definitely problems with it, and I'm not going to be one of these Andrew Tate kind of people saying about women taking over and things like that, because that's not who I am. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and and probably my favourite character in it is Master Soul, who is played by Squid Game actor Lee Jung-jae, who is just bloody brilliant, and he actually learned English. Yeah, he actually learned English to do the part. So yeah, he's bloody awesome in it.
Yeah. Okay, so we've started talking about it. Though I think we'll move on to the big one first.
I think we've got to.
We've got to go the big first, and then we can sort of kind of end off with the other ones.
Yeah.
You've seen Deadpool. I've seen Deadpool recently. If you're watching this, there's a fair few of you actually watching live at this current moment in time. If you haven't watched Deadpool, and you don't want it ruined for you, though the internet is very much spoiling everything, and it had been spoiling everything from pretty much day dot, you probably want to shut off now, but because we are going to talk about it in depth. So if you don't want it spoiled, please leave now. Again, people who've just jumped on now, if you don't want to hear about Deadpool,
or if you don't care about Deadpool and you just want to spoil it for someone else, keep listening. You're gonna learn something.
Just keep on listening. But yeah, we're just going to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Or I said Deadpool versus Wolverine when I came out of the cinema. I was like, it's not. It's Deadpool and Wolverine.
I reckon that was probably one of the original titles for it, because there was a couple of news stories about how just before they unveiled the title, it was going to be Deadpool and Friend. Apparently, people just went, "No, we don't want that. That's a terrible title." Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, that sounds better.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay, so again, we've got about 21 people watching, or 26 people now watching live.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, jumped up. I'm not. It's your title, Jonjo. LFG. Let's fucking go.
Oh my god! What? Oh, I hate trying to live up to some expectation. Now this is bad.
But we got a few people. Again, final warning: we're just about to talk about Deadpool. If you haven't watched it, this is your fair warning to do one, because we're going to talk about it now. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go. So I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I went in after being I had loads of stuff, because I didn't see it straight away. I saw it sort of like a week afterwards, and the internet was progressively trying to spoil all the cameos and stuff for me. There was like every single TikTok I was watching, every sort of thing I was getting on Facebook, there was some sort of cameo. So I knew a lot of the cameos that were going to be in it. That being said, there's so many that I didn't get it ruined for me fully, because there's loads. There's so much within it. It's hard to unpack. I was a bit apprehensive when I first went in, because I saw like really mixed reviews on it, and the first review I saw was like some IGN one or something. It's like 1 out of 5 or something. It was just like, this is bollocks, and I was just like, is this the straw that broke the camel's back? Is this the final film, and it's sort of, they've pushed it too far? And then I saw some like varying ones, so I went in kind of just a bit, I don't know, am I going to enjoy this? But man, I don't know if I think I enjoyed it just as much as I did the other ones. The whole thing is just nerd lip service for, and that's not a bad thing. It literally is. It's just full of cameos. It's full of references. It's like, it's Deadpool on steroids, and the whole Wolverine thing is just immense. The fact that at the start they just piss all over the Logan sort of the memory of Logan. Like, if any of you, obviously a lot of you have seen Logan, and it's immense, and the ending is very poignant. It's very sad. It's like the end of Hugh Jackman's sort of kind of Wolverine career. It's a really good swan song to go off on. And they literally just piss all over it from the very start, from the opening credits, and it's just like, wow, man, you just went deep really quickly.
I love that the meta humor just starts straight away from that opening credit sequence where he goes, "Hey, what would you believe it? I've got another film. I'm now in the MCU." Yeah. The one guy that shouldn't even have a film, and he's got a whole franchise. It's like, and then just when because obviously you see the trailers, and I kept thinking, I'm sure that forest is from Logan. I'm sure that forest, and as soon as he gets to the gravesite, I thought, yeah, do you know what? There is going to be no respect now. He's just gonna dig that body up, and he does, and it's just the interaction as well is just hilarious. It's just like, especially when he starts playing with the skeleton, he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to come back for a bag of that big Marvel cash." It's excellent. It's just such a, and the thing is as well is that throughout the film, almost effortlessly, there is just so much meta humor that you expect from Deadpool, but it's so well timed as well because you've had.
Did you see the bit where he jokes about Hugh Jackman's divorce?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's great as well. Where he goes, yeah, he's let himself go since the divorce.
Man,
I mean, there's a couple of divorce jokes as well, especially with a later cameo that I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute as well. But and then after digging up the body of Wolverine, what happens? We get an epic fight scene to NSYNC Bye Bye Bye, which is just incredible. And that song just stayed in my fucking head for a week. I just could not get that out of my brain at all.
Yeah, sorry, before we go sort of in depth in the sort of the rest of the film, again, if you've just joined us, it's going to get spoiled for you, so it's up to yourselves. But I've seen more reviews recently and stuff, and there was a guy, he's quite a well-known sort of like YouTube sort of name can't, I don't know, but he was sort of saying that there's all this hype now, but is it going to last for further watches, or is it just that this was just a bit of a hype fest and then it's just going to die off later?
It's a good question,
but the thing is, like, if he I think one of his points was, and again, I can't remember who it was. It's like his point was that in the other films they had a good story at least behind it, and if you took out the Deadpool humor, then you still would have a half decent film and stuff. Which I don't know if I agree with, because the other stories were a bit, I don't know, there was they were a bit loose.
Yeah, I think maybe Deadpool 2 had a bit more of a story than the first one. The first one, it was obviously establishing the character, but it was just a good example of the humor they could get away with, the jokes, and in particular the limited budget compared to other superhero movies. So I think Deadpool 2 probably, if you were going by story, had the strongest out of the trilogy. But I mean, I think this film was just made more to bring together two of the most popular Marvel characters there is, two of the most popular actors that there are, and overall there is some links to the greater Marvel universe. There is some more probably things that might come up when we get to a certain Avengers film, but overall I just thought it's got to be a fun movie. It was a fun movie, and it was one of them films that I'll probably watch again in a few months' time, because once it comes on to Disney Plus, I'll happily sit down and I will take my Deadpool head popcorn bucket and I'll be sitting down. I'll be happily enjoying that film again.
Well, it was sort of like thinking back on the him saying, is it just going to get old fast? And I don't know if I agree. Like, I don't.
There is some jokes. There is some jokes that are very timed, especially when he fights the TVA agents and he does say, take my sword out of your fucking mouth and things like that. No, sorry. So take my country's name out of your fucking mouth.
That's right.
And my sword.
Yeah. Well, but there's so many on the pulse at that moment in time, and I thought that in itself was amazing, because it was literally fine. There is. The fourth wall breaking is at the maximum, and the cameos are at the maximum. There's it's just everything, and it just pushes everything in there, and it's like you're just sort of when you go to these sort of Marvel films and you're looking for that Easter egg, or you're looking for that little cameo and stuff like that. They're just everywhere, and it's just like your little nerd brain's kind of going, oh my god, that's from that point, and oh my god, that's from that, and that's from that.
The thing. The last couple of years, I think we've just anticipated the cameo side now, because we had I mean, technically they weren't cameos, but they did have big parts in the film. You had Spider-Man No Way Home, which brought back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and then you had Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which had the Illuminati played with various other Marvel actors and a couple of dream castings that people really wanted. And then, now, and I think there's good times any now to talk about these cameos, because I I don't think we're going to get much further in this discussion without.
Okay, my favorite one, right? And it completely, I didn't see it coming in any way, shape, or form. So I knew that Chris Evans was in it, right? So I was like, oh. And as you expect, you're thinking, oh, that's going to be Captain America. And they sort of play it as it's going to be Captain America. But it's not Captain America. It's Johnny Storm. And you're just like, I didn't see it coming. It didn't even enter my brain that would be, it would be a Fantastic Four, especially with Fantastic Four coming out soon, that it would be a Fantastic Four reference. And it was just like, it was there. And he just sort of, he does this sort of like, he does this sort of superhero, when he says this superhero sort of kind of landing, and then Deadpool goes, that's it now, that's a superhero landing. And then you think he's going to say it, and then he doesn't, he just goes, flame on, and you're like, oh my God. And that blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind.
That when I saw that in the cinema, that got a massive cheer.
Yeah.
As soon as he went flame on, the crowd just sort of went, like, really erupted. And it goes to show you, Fantastic Four from... 2005 now.
Yeah.
It's still got its audience. It's still got a lot of fans, and that was a moment I went, wow, a lot of people actually do like that. Or are they just happy because it's Chris Evans as another? I don't. But that's the thing. Chris Evans has played so many comic book characters. It's really hard to keep up.
Yeah, it's true. I like, obviously the way he dies as well. It's just
insane. But that comes around so well in that post-credit scene when he's like, yes, I'm going to prove to you that I wasn't lying. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah. Do you know what I mean? That is a great cameo. I really think that was fantastic. I would probably say my favourite one, and bear in mind, technically it's not a return. I really like Channing Tatum as Gambit. I rolled over laughing at some of these lines because they were just so ridiculous.
Do you know what?
So funny.
When they had Gambit, right? I sort of, the back of my brain went, like, when I knew he was in it, Channing Tatum was in it, and I was just like, oh, I'm not sure he is. And then when Gambit came in, I was like, oh my God, it's Gambit. And I was just like, that's quality. But then he kept on saying, oh, I don't know where I came from. And it's like, nothing happened because his Gambit films never materialized. So he was trying to do a Gambit film for years. And I forgot about it, and then my friend said about it, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's right!" So that's why, and that's what he's saying makes a lot more sense because it was like he had a thing where he wanted to do a Gambit film, and what he was saying sort of tied in with that, and I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense now."
It went back quite a while. If you look at Channing Tatum's association with X-Men, he was originally meant to have been in The Last Stand. So that's a long time ago. That's 2006. Right. And then it's meant to be an X-Men Origins Wolverine. Couldn't do it because he was making another film. So they got Taylor Kitsch. And then, then they tried to do this Gambit film for years. And it went through so many different directors, so many different screenwriters. They cut the budget down. They went through so many different revisions. And then when Fox got bought out by Disney, they're like, no, we're not going to have that going on there. And I think purposely, they really over-exaggerated the character because they're like, well, come on, let's have some fun. Let's do something that we're not going to probably have another chance at this. And I loved it. It was just so good. It's just like some of the lines he spouted as well was just ridiculous, but so funny.
But the thing is, they did him in a way like, you generally get Channing Tatum cameos are generally just like him being like a gimp in or being really weird or just some random sort of thing that he's just being stupid in it. And in this he had it was like a bit of humor, but it was also like he made a good Gambit. I think it showed off a good Gambit, and I think that was the whole point with a lot of the film in that, and I think the whole premise, and this is what this whole film is about, it's about bringing everything together into the secret timeline, the MCU, as it were, so, and they make references to it, so bringing everything together, and that's all the Fox Marvel stuff, bring it in line with the MCU, and giving everybody an ending that they deserved, or within his case, a start that he probably deserved.
Yeah, there's one other bit as well that I really enjoyed, and that was from another cameo. Mr. Wesley Snipes as Blade, and it's just that bit as they're going back to Cassandra Nova's compound, and he's at the roof of the car. He goes, "I am Blade. I'm the only Blade. There's never going to be another Blade." It's like,
But see,
and Deadpool's like,
yeah, well, see, there's that whole thing. I'd seen loads of stuff about how him and Ryan Reynolds had not got on at all in Blade Trinity and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, allegedly, it was just a really long-term sort of joke. I don't know if I fully believe that and stuff.
There's a lot of stories online. There's because there's a few videos with Patton Oswalt who talks a lot about it, and apparently there was one point during the making of Blade Trinity that Wesley Snipes, whenever he was talking to the director or any of the crew, he always done it by post-it note, and he signed it as Blade.
Yeah.
And there was even one shot at the end of Blade Trinity when he's I think it's when he's believed to be dead, and he's like laying down with his eyes closed. At the end of the shot, he's supposed to open his eyes, and he refused to do it. So they digitally opened his eyes because he just refused point blank. And he's like, "No, I'm filming this, so I'm not doing that." And they're like, "Yeah, we're just going to do it digitally then."
Yeah. So the things, they make references to them not getting on. So I'm not sure if that's, it's just like, let bygones be bygones and stuff, and it's now a thing. But yeah, it was good. It was good to see him. It was just good. Like, even Elektra, having Elektra there, and I wasn't really a massive fan of the Elektra films, her and Daredevil and stuff. Like, I didn't hate the old Daredevil film either.
That was another good bit as well. When like Deadpool goes, "Oh, but what about Daredevil? What happened to him?" And oh, he died. He died. Elektra goes, "Yeah, but it's all right." It's like, that's brilliant. That's just so good. It's like, oh, okay.
But yeah, just like that, and then you had X-23. It is X-23, isn't it? Yeah, it's X-23. Yeah, just X-23, and it was, she kept a really good secret because she was asked about it. And I saw an interview, and she's like, "Yeah, no, I'd love to, but I'm not." And she kept really good sort of like a poker face on that, and she rocks up, and that's amazing. That's really good. I like the fact that the Juggernaut in it is also a sort of, it's kind of like the Vinnie Jones Juggernaut, but it's not. And then Deadpool says, "Oh, are you this universe's Juggernaut?" or something along those lines.
Yeah, are you this year's model or something like that?
Yeah.
But the guy that actually plays Juggernaut is have you seen Free Guy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the guy that plays the jacked up version of
right.
of Ryan Reynolds' character in Free Guy.
Right. Yeah. I always thought that was The Rock or something, because I knew The Rock was in it, but he actually plays the voice of the guy in this. Well, he's the voice of the guy in the alleyway. She's sort of getting the information from.
That's it. Yeah.
Then there's.
I mean, yeah, I thought that was quite a good little callback, and then I mean, there's just so many different characters.
Henry Cavill.
Oh fuck, that was so brilliant.
And he cocks his arms. He cocks his arms like he does in the Mission Impossible films.
It's like, but and then like just that scene where he goes, "Yeah, we're going to treat you much better than them shit fucks down the street." It's
I think that was that line, and then everything they did. It's like they've gone through all the old superheroes who didn't get a justified sort of kind of ending or have been fucked over by somebody, and they're giving them something, and they've done that. So they gave Henry Cavill the Wolverine, because people were talking about him being the Wolverine, and and then they obviously give that whole thing about we're going to treat you better and stuff, because maybe he might be a part of the MCU a bit more. And then you have each character just had something there, maybe not so much the bad guys, though there were a lot of sort of like bad guys who you probably wouldn't notice. What's the name? Deathstrike? Is it Deathstrike? Lady Deathstrike?
Oh yeah, Lady Deathstrike.
Yeah. Because she's in it briefly. You kind of see her with her sort of kind of thingy nails and stuff, and then you have one of the guys from the Punisher, the Russian, I think.
The Russian,
from the Punisher. Obviously you have Pyro, and you have Toad, You have
Sabretooth.
Sabretooth, yeah, Sabretooth.
Yeah.
The old Sabretooth is back.
And Bullseye.
Yeah.
Was in it.
Was Bullseye in it?
Yeah, Bullseye's in it. It's a different actor, but you can see it in one shot that he has actually got the like the bullseye scar on his forehead, same as in the Daredevil film.
Right, okay. So, well, there you go.
It's very like quick and you miss it kind of thing. I didn't catch that until my second viewing of the film.
Obviously got Azazel as well in there,
Yeah.
And what else here have we got?
There's loads.
I'm sure you could go back and see more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, the whole thing is just, I love the bit where they're going in and then it's just all Paul Rudd finally aged. And it's just like, obviously because there's that whole thing about Paul Rudd never aging, and then obviously you've got the Ant-Man, the large Ant-Man sort of base in his skull, and obviously they turn around and do that. But yeah, the whole thing, man, just like I it was like, as much as there was comedy and it was relentless, like even at the start when he's talking to Happy Hogan. Oh, Happy Hogan's in it. He's talking to Happy Hogan at the start about joining the Avengers and stuff, and he's doing it basically because he wants to make a difference, because and they're like, no, basically. But he even those moments where it's just like you want to be serious and he wants to do his thing, he always sort of undercuts it with this sort of like, this line. And, I was worried that maybe that humor might take away from some of the more poignant moments, but there were, I think Hugh Jackman's Wolverine got some really good moments in there, comedy wise, and like, a bit more serious, because it's good that Wolverine to be sort of on the edge there and to be a bit more serious. So we had those moments, and it was really good when he put his cowl on, and it was just like, yes, that's absolutely amazing. I can't. I went out. I always sort of judge a film when I come out of it on how I feel afterwards, and I was buzzing. I came out absolutely buzzing. I was just like, that was amazing. Like, there was so much to take in. I even the bit at the end and the credits when they're sort of they go through all the Fox sort of moments and stuff like that, all the behind the scenes stuff. And it was just like, it was in its way a swan song for the Fox universe, and the end. That's the end of it now. Everybody's in the secret timeline now. They make that sort of what's the word? They make that, I can't think of the words. He basically, when they saves everybody at the end, when they save everybody at the end and stuff, and he basically says to the TVA, I would like you to save my friends, effectively. And that basically means that everybody's being brought into this sort of secret timeline, and can, in theory, have a chance to be vindicated or given what deserved. I think he gave them all a moment, which was good. But at least that way, he there's hope for something else. And I like that. I like that sort of thing, that they weren't just cast aside. Effectively, it was remembered. Him obviously having been a part of that Fox universe. I think he sort of gave everybody a chance, and I think that was the whole crescendo of the film itself. And that was, story wise, it was just him trying to stop Nova from destroying everything.
Yeah, but that's the thing, we haven't really talked about the villain of the piece, really.
She was so good. So good.
I mean, if you've ever seen anything from Emma Corrin before, because I mean, they are brilliant. There's it's one of the shows I never really spoke about much, but I kind of enjoyed. Emma Corrin was Diana in The Crown, and fantastic performance, actually.
Oh my god! Because I was sitting there kind of going, "What's she from?" Yeah. All right, okay.
Yeah, but that was it. It was like, Emma Corrin was just like this star that's just sort of come out of almost nowhere, And there's just that presence of being Cassandra Nova, just so cool, so collected, and just, without a second thought, rip the skin off of Johnny Storm. It's like, yeah.
Man, it was just so unexpected.
There was a good few moments, and especially when they're trying to overpower Cassandra, and they put the Juggernaut's helmet on their head, and they're going, right, Wes, if I take this off you, we promise not to kill you. I promise I will kill you as soon as I take this. It's like, yeah, what is wrong with you? I don't know. It's just brilliant. And then, the masturbation jokes as well. And that she'd do that to an Enya box set. He went, well, you got an Enya box set?
Yeah, man, I just couldn't see why people disliked it. In the end, when you're watching a Deadpool film, you're not expecting, Shakespeare. You're not expecting, you're expecting stupid jokes and action and, some sort of cameos. And you just, I think he did a really good job of, getting all these people together and just making what it was. And yeah, I just really impressed.
And I think as well, what was really good was I know a lot of people that were expecting almost like every second to be a different cameo. And I'm glad it wasn't like that. I'm glad it wasn't like every single actor of the X-Men was in it. I'm glad it wasn't, like every single member of the Fantastic Four or all of that side. They picked some great actors. Then, like I say, like you said, they gave some of them a good ending. They gave them and they even said in just as they're going to that battle with Cassandra Nova, hey, we're going to finally get the ending we deserve. And I thought that's nice. That's nice to actually hear and see something like that.
Yeah.
But then I really hope that for some of these characters, it's not the end. In particular, Deadpool and Wolverine, come on, they're going to be in Secret Wars. That's basically.
There's no way Hugh Jackman's, he kept, obviously one of the jokes that he kept on saying, 90 years, you're going to be doing this till you're 90. Yeah.
That's so good. And do you know what? And I think before we talk about anything else, finally, in terms of cameos, the Deadpool core, was just like wall to wall. There's so many different voices, so many different people in that. And just that scene in particular is so good. And I remember just as they got to the end of that fight, I thought, fuck it, hang on, they'll regenerate. It's like, are we about to have this all over again?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing, because you had, is it Nice Pool? Nice Pool, which is basically, it was basically Ryan Reynolds looking really nice, and, but he doesn't regenerate. So you have this sort of kind of this sort of juxtaposition sort of thing, and then they go in and they basically take out all of this sort of Deadpool core, and then you're like, do they regenerate? And then he says, oh, do they regenerate? And then they all come back, and then Peter Pool comes running out.
He just saves the day.
I'm Peter Pool, and it's like, yes, that's amazing. So yeah, you had Blake Lively, his wife was there, his kid did a voice for one of them. Both of his kids, Baby Pool's kid did a voice for that.
Yeah, two of his kids were it. Yeah, and
Matthew McConaughey
voicing Cowboy Paul.
Nathan Fillion, did Headpool. Who else did we have?
You also had if anyone's a fan of Welcome to Wrexham, there's Star Striker Paul Mullin as Welsh Paul.
Yeah, Welsh Paul. Yeah. Just the whole thing was just a joy. It wasn't like, again, I don't understand what people were expecting if they didn't like it's like it's a Deadpool film, it's dick and fart jokes, it's stupid, it's just just let yourself go and enjoy it. And it's
Joe, I think we've got to talk about one more character as well, and probably a star and a highlight, and that is Dogpool, aka Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins, yeah. Man, it was when she's got her tongue going into his mouth and stuff. It's like, oh, dude, what are you doing?
But it's like if you see there's some behind the scenes videos where like the take goes on for like 2 or 3 minutes, he just keeps talking while this dog's licking the inside of his mouth. It's
You were
god.
talking about it because they put all kinds of different things in his mouth to try and get him
Yeah.
to sort of like it. And apparently, like, salmon paste was the only thing that really he liked. So he had like salmon paste all over his face, and he said it was grim.
Yeah.
It was like worse than being sort of like mouth fucked by this dog, and it's just.
Oh god.
But yeah.
I mean, yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I 100% would give it a 5 out of 5. I'd watch it again. You know, I think it's a welcome addition to the Deadpool franchise, and I think, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing him in the Avengers films. You know, it's like Secret Wars, and then obviously we have what we can talk about next. Obviously, is Avengers Doom.
Yes, Avengers Doomsday, which is gonna be. That's gonna. I mean, let's be honest, and let's just put it out there. They've just more or less buried Kang the Conqueror, and I think part of me thinks it's a smart move, but at the same time, I'm very concerned that they didn't just recast the character, because Kang the Conqueror, I think, had such a great way to go. I don't think the character's gone completely. I reckon they'll probably shoehorn. And this is what I said. They're going to probably shoehorn him into like the first part of Avengers Doomsday. He'll be like, you know, oh yes, this is our threat, and then all of a sudden, nope, he's gone. It's Doctor Doom, and then at the end of Doomsday, he'll probably unmask himself. They'll be like, Tony Stark, and he goes,
yeah.
who?
So it's basically going to be how do they get the whole Tony Stark, and there's a different like I'm only I'm partially up on the comic book side of things. So you've got one where he switches minds with Tony Stark, and then you have one where he fights like after Secret Wars, he fights with the Avengers to sort of kind of bring, like, he is the Doctor, but he sort of fights with the Avengers to bring sort of things back into order, and sort of becomes sort of like, he's not a good guy, but he sort of helps out and stuff. So I don't know which angle they're going to go with, or they're literally just going to go with a multiversal sort of like Tony Stark is Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to be. I really the way I'd like it to do is I like for them to acknowledge and go, oh wait, hang on, this guy looks a lot like Tony Stark, but I don't want there to be any link apart from that, apart from how he looks, because you know they proved it with Deadpool and Wolverine. You know, yeah, Chris Evans, and they go, oh, he's Captain America, but he's also Johnny Storm.
Yeah,
no one's got a problem with that.
Yeah,
so why not have?
No, you're right. You're right. I think that would be a good, if they, you know, there might be a side sort of Deadpool reference. If he's in these, there might be a reference to it. But apart from that, maybe everybody else will be just completely oblivious to it, and that's probably the best way to do it, as a bit of a side nod to it, and then just carry on as it is. But I'm glad, and I think it's really good that he's come back as like a bad guy. Because you know, Robert Downey Jr.
He's doing the Two-Face thing, you know. You either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. Yeah. But he's done both.
Yeah. So, and he doesn't usually. I'm trying to think of anything where he's been a bad guy in it, bar Weird Science. You know, back in his teenage years and stuff, where he's been a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, there must be some parts.
I suppose he's kind of a baddish guy in what's it called? Oh God. Film about the nuclear bomb. Head's got Oppenheimer. He's kind of in that.
Yeah, he's the antagonist, really, in that part of it.
Kind of. So yeah, maybe that's sort of, but it's one of his more recent films. So yeah, it's
and we've also got I mean, he's not the only return for the Avengers. They have announced now Anthony and Joe Russo of the second and third Captain America and Infinity War and Endgame. They're returning to direct the next two Avengers films, which is I think it's a welcome return.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people are very like, oh, this is Marvel trying to play it safe. It's like, well, why would you want to play it safe?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Your last film earned nearly $3 billion. Of course, you want to try and recreate that formula.
Yeah, and I think, you know, they obviously have to be careful, because you know, the last set of Marvel films, you know, Doctor Strange was okay, Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania was okay. What else did we have?
If I'm going by what we've had since post Endgame, I mean the ones I've really enjoyed the most, Spider-Man: No Way Home,
Yep.
I'd still say is my
Yep.
favorite MCU film
Yep.
since Endgame. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I've
That was
really
good.
enjoyed.
Yep. Yeah. That was really good. Yep.
And I know a lot of people didn't like it. I actually quite enjoyed the Marvels.
The
I
Marvels
I,
was okay.
I found it a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Like, I didn't. Again, all of these films I watched and I enjoyed, but there was nothing bar Spider-Man. What really sort of kind of went, wow, that was absolutely amazing. I'm trying to think what other ones there were. Like, if I've missed anyone.
Oh, I could list. I could. Joe, what the sad thing is, I could list them all off in their release order as well.
Go on then. We'll go through them.
Right.
Yeah.
So after Endgame, so obviously we had Spider-Man: Far From Home,
Yep.
which was the end of Phase 3.
Yep.
Then we had Black Widow.
That was good. Yeah, Black Widow was good. Yeah.
And then we had Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings.
I thought that was really good.
That.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that as well. Though they said there's not going to be another one.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a bit of a shame if it wasn't, but Eternals.
I underrated. I thought that was underrated. I enjoyed it.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but I think it was a very long film as well. It was very drawn out, that one.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yep.
Fantastic film. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah. Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I Thor: Love and Thunder. I thought Gore. I thought they completely killed him as a character with they overdid the comedy in it, like way too much, and it just took the edge off what was a very dark character. So I didn't really like that. No.
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which I actually really enjoyed.
That was good. That was good.
Although I still go by the idea that it should have been Okoye that become the Black Panther and not Shuri.
Yeah.
But, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which unfortunately my only real highlight of that film I can't really talk about now because Jonathan May just got chucked out of the MCU.
Yep.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And then we had the Marvels, and then now Deadpool and Wolverine. And even sadder, I actually know every MCU film that's still to come in the next.
So what have we? Years. Okay, go. What have we got coming up, Jonjo?
So in February, for Valentine's as well. Who doesn't love a romantic film? We got Captain America: Brave New World.
Okay,
which is I'm optimistic about it because I'm liking the idea that. We've got Red Hulk, we've got the Leader, and they are two of the best comic book characters in Marvel. So to finally see them properly on the screen, be good. And even more interesting because we've got a Captain America who hasn't had the super soldier serum. So this is just a guy with wings trying to fight off two Hulks. So that's going to be great. And then in May of 2025 we have got the Thunderbolts, which is more or less Marvel's version of Suicide Squad, really. Again, I'm optimistic about it. I think I'm hoping there's going to be a bit more to it than I'm hearing, but the idea that they're bringing back a lot of these characters, again, a lot of characters that probably have not had a great lot of presence, really, potentially giving them a bit of redemption, a little bit of a hopefully good send-off. And then probably my most anticipated of the Marvel films next year, Fantastic Four: The First Steps, which that trailer got leaked everywhere.
Yeah.
And I know it's mostly test footage, most of that probably not be in the film, but it looks like they're doing some good work on there. They're definitely pushing for a good movie. But
you've got Pedro Pascal, who can't do any wrong, can you? He's pretty much amazing in everything he does.
Yeah. And funny enough, I was chatting with a few people about the Comic-Con panel, and him and Vanessa Kirby, just their interaction with each other, like their companionship, it's just so tight. That is this could be potentially one of the best Marvel pairings that we've seen for a long time. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And then if it still is happening, and apparently it is, in November of 2025, we're finally going to get that Blade film.
Okay, yeah, the one that was sort of hinted at the end of the Eternals.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it was originally meant to have come out at the end of 2023, but then I think it was the director at the time dropped out at the last minute, and then the script apparently made Blade more or less like the third or fourth most important character instead of being the title character put in front and center,
I've just
which is
realised
silly.
that 3 of the 4, actually no. So who's playing um Thing in the new Fantastic Four?
Ebon Moss Backrack.
Okay, right, okay. So it's
He I know he's done a few things. I know he's in the TV show The Bear, but he was also in the Punisher TV series.
yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Oh, what was his character's name again? I can't think of his
Well, you've got
character's name.
Ralph Ineson, who's playing Galactus.
Yes,
He's playing Galactus.
which I'm fantastic with. I like that. I think he's just got such a great fucking voice as it is. So there's going to be no filter for that. It's just like, yeah, just talk down the microphone. You'll be fine.
So he was in Game of Thrones. Pedro Pascal was in Game of Thrones. Joseph Quinn of Stranger Things fame is also in Game of Thrones as a Winterfell guard. If you've ever sort of like, there's an episode on series. It's basically when Arya makes her way back to Winterfell. It would have been like maybe last 2 seasons. One of there's 2 guards. There's 2 guards,
there,
and one of those guards is Joseph Quinn. So 3 of them have been in Game of Thrones because Ralph Ineson is one of Theon's sort of Ironborn guys and stuff, sort of the Greyjoys. And then obviously Pedro Pascal is
the Viper.
Yeah, the Prince Oberyn. So yeah, there's a Game of Thrones link there as well. I was trying to say Vanessa Kirby, was she in it? But I think she's just she was in Napoleon, wasn't she?
Oh, Vanessa Kirby's been in loads of things, in particular the last few Mission Impossible films as well.
Yeah, that's right. She has been.
I mean, I think that's a great cast, and John Malkovich is in it as well, which is they haven't revealed his character yet. But,
okay.
I'm anticipating. And then we've also got Julia Garner, who's going to be the Silver Surfer in the film.
Okay. So, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there is a history of a female Silver Surfer, Shala Bowl, who, I'd be honest, I've not really seen. I don't think I've really seen too much of her in the comics, but I'm going by the idea that we've had Fantastic Four so many times over. Surely this has got to be the one that's actually going to be good. So
yeah, it hasn't had a great history. It hasn't had a glorious history. I always remember that when, obviously, because you had the original Fantastic Four, or I say the original, but the sort of the ones from I want to say the early 2000s. When did those
2005 and 2007 was the Fox ones originally?
Yeah. So I sort of, after they came out, there was the one that came out afterwards, which was absolutely panned, and I never watched. We obviously at Geek Pride got a scoop from it because one of the ladies who used to do stuff for us now and again worked in a bar in Florida, and one of the guys who worked on that film used to come into her bar and showed her some pictures, and we got some pictures, and and we got a picture of Doom, Dr. Doom, from that on set and stuff, and we got emails from Warner Brothers legal team. I was like, holy shit, this is escalated. Where'd you get these from? We're like, well, I can't tell you. And they were asking for details and all these other things, and I'm not going to give you those. I'm not going to give you that stuff. And it was just like, it was so surreal, because it was just like, we'd had like 2 scoops. We'd had the one about Han Solo and Star Wars, and then obviously this, and it was just mad because we had Warner Brothers. I'm pretty sure it was Warner Brothers. Their legal team on to me and stuff about it, and I was just like, holy shit, this is a bit weird.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. But do you know what I mean? And I'd never seen it until probably about a year ago, I actually finally sat down and watched the Fantastic Four film made in the 90s, the one that was never
Oh,
meant to have been released.
yeah, yeah.
And I tell you what, it's probably the best and worst Marvel film you could see at the
It's
same
so
time.
bad it's good. One of those ones.
It is, but the thing is the actors in it, they really look like they're having fun. They really are trying to put on a good performance, but it's more or less like the filmmaking, the writing, and just everything else in between just makes it god awful. And there's a great documentary as well about the making of that film and what happened with it and how they tried to scrap it, bury it for all these different reasons. If you get a chance, I mean, if you don't want to actually watch the Fantastic Four film itself, watch that documentary, because there is just so much that gets said about it. A lot about how the production was done, how a lot of these actors were paying out of their own pocket to go and do convention appearances, obviously not knowing that this film was never meant to see the light of day. And and it's just and even probably one of my favorite things was the guy that played Doctor Doom. He went into the edit suite after they'd made the movie, so after they shot it, and obviously where he's wearing the mask, a lot of his lines were very muffled, very hard to hear, and he more or less begged the team. He said, look, let me re-record these lines, let me do this, because I can do this, we can make this better. And they basically just kicked him out, and they said, no, we're not doing this, it's fine as it is. And he even offered to do it for nothing. He actually said that I'll do it for free. I just want this performance to be good. I just want, obviously not knowing that the film was never meant to be.
Well, it's funny you say the Fantastic Four, the 90s Fantastic Four. A guy who used to do this before your time, Jonjo. A guy used to do some stuff with this called Dave Foy, fellow Northern Irishman. He hasn't done anything for us for ages and stuff, but he did an article for us called Dave's Cultomania, Marvel Movies, the B-movie years. I'll see if I can bring it on screen here. So if you're watching this, you can check it out. If you're listening to this, just type in Marvel in the Geek Pride website, geek-pride.co.uk, and you can read his article. But it's Dave's Cultomania Movies, the B-movie years, and he talks about Howard the Duck. Like, so he's basically, obviously, off the back, there's all these really sort of great Marvel films. Then he goes, like, before that, there was some pretty horrendous movies. You had Howard the Duck. You had the old Spider-Man movie from the 70s. You had, what else we got? The Punisher, the 1989 Punisher, Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You had Captain America from 1990, which looks, I've not seen it, but looks absolutely
I'll tell you what, the Captain America one is good, because on 2 separate occasions, he's in a car. He goes, oh, can you please stop the car? I feel like I'm going to get sick. And as the person gets out the car, he jumps into the driver's seat and nicks the car. Honestly, he does that twice in the film.
But yeah, give it a read. Just sort of it just came into my mind, and so it's Dave's Cultomania movie, Marvel Movies, the B movie years. It's on the Geek Pride website. Give it a read. It's quite interesting. So yeah.
I mean, I'm going to have to read that myself now. Yeah. I do like things like that. I do like looking back on that side of history, especially when you think now, a lot of these films were being made because they wanted to keep the rights to them. It didn't matter if they made a good film or not. It's like, well, we can probably do a better film in 10 years' time. And then, it's just what we got now.
It's just the picture. It's like just the, like, I'll bring it back up in here. It's just the picture of them all there, these like really cheesy grins, this really bad sort of like thing picture, like it just, really bad prosthetics in general. Just doesn't look, leotards, effectively wearing leotards and stuff. It's just so bad. Like, to be honest, I saw Howard the Duck. I kind of liked Howard the Duck, to be fair, in a weird way.
I think Howard the Duck just had more problems than just how it looked. Especially like Leah Thompson basically canoodling with a duck, with a duck, but she made her money, so I'm sure she was happy.
But yeah, talking about cheesy sort of kind of 80s stuff. I went back. I just finished Cobra Kai season 6. Obviously, there's another two episodes. I want to say 2 episodes to come out, part 1 and part 2, for the end of the season. I just finished, the first 5 episodes of season 6, and I went back to watch Karate Kid. I watched Karate Kid 1 and 2, and man, just so many memories of those films. And if you've not watched Karate Kid, like, we're not talking about the Jackie Chan, Jaden Wilson, Jaden Smith. Jaden Wilson.
Jaden Wilson.
Jaden Smith. Well, we're talking about the Ralph Macchio, Pat's. What was his?
Pat Morita.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Mr. Miyagi fame. They're just like, it's just pure nostalgia. Again, the acting and stuff it's not bad, to be fair. If I went back there, I wasn't, it's not bad. Johnny Lawrence, Zapka, is
the real Karate Kid.
The real Karate Kid. Yeah. He actually doesn't get as much time in the, like, you think about how Cobra Kai is and how it's all set, and it's all effectively based around him. Though I think later on, Daniel LaRusso and sort of overtakes it somewhat, but it's all revolves around, obviously, Zapka. Is it William Zapka? First name again?
Yeah, it's William Zapka.
Yeah. And he, but if you think about the karate, he doesn't have a load in it, and it's like they have a sort of kind of fight at the end, and then he gets beaten and he goes, "You're all right, LaRusso," and then gives him his trophy, and that's it. And then he has a really brief moment in number 2 at the end where, like, Kreese sort of starts picking on them, and then Mr. Miyagi basically comes in and he sort of punches some window screens, and that's sort of kind of it. I'm trying to think, is he in 3?
I've not seen him for such a long time. I mean, I will be honest. I mean, I've not watched much of Cobra Kai. I've only really seen the first couple of seasons.
It's really good.
But my defense for that is there's just so much fucking stuff on TV.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai is definitely, if you're a Karate Kid fan, or if you've watched it, you should definitely give it a go. It's got a lot of the same vibes. The one sort of recurring thing I've noticed about it, though, is it's like redemption. Every bad guy can be redeemed, bar Kreese. It's just like, or Silver. Every bad guy can be redeemed. It seems like all the main bad guys who they deal with within the films, they come back and they're good guys. They're like, we were bad guys, but we've redeemed ourselves, and now we're young and misunderstood, and now we're good guys. And so we
didn't mean it.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that, but fight scenes are really good. It's it's relatively well acted as well. It is what it is. If you like Karate Kid, you're going to enjoy it. And it's 6 seasons, and it's done really well. And it's got what's her name? She's in The Expanse. She plays. I'm forgetting now. Pete would know. Expanse guy. Anyway, she's in the characters, one of the characters in it and stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just finished watching it, looking forward to the end of it. It'll be pretty sad when it ends, though apparently Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan are doing a new Karate Kid film, which is they've announced it. They did like a thing where they were both together and said they were going to do a Karate Kid film, so that could be interesting. How they do that, so we'll have to wait and see for that one. But yeah, definitely worth a watch. It's got some really good sort of angles, and it flows quite well in that it's not, as much as there is this sort of things, we were bad guys once and now we're good guys, but there's a lot of edge to it. So there's the fact that they have these two competing styles of fighting. So you've got Johnny Lawrence, who's all about this 80s style rock and roll, Cobra Kai sort of like cool. He wants to do things in a cool way. He plays it really well. Like it's really well. I'm surprised he hasn't done much more, to be honest. I was looking at his filmography, He hasn't done a lot, to be fair, but it's really good. And then you've got obviously Daniel LaRusso, who's got the Miyagi-Do sort of kind of, it's a bit more reserved and stuff. And they have this sort of thing where the people within their respective dojos sort of, they fight each other, and then they sort of kind of switch sides and they go back and forth. So you kind of don't know what's going on a lot of the time. There is obviously that inevitable sort of like, you're okay sort of thing as they become, they team up and become good guys for each other and stuff. But yeah, there's a good edge to it. So it keeps you guessing. And and Kreese, again, he's not somebody who's been in loads, but he's a really good and layered sort of antagonist. So as a bad guy, you kind of enjoy it, and it gives you sort of flashbacks to their history and stuff, especially with him and why he is how he is and stuff. And I think that adds a lot to his character as well, which is good, I find. So definitely worth a watch if you haven't watched it. But watch the Karate Kid films first. They're super 80s, super cheese. Like I was watching Karate Kid 2 with my wife's that's right, I have a wife now. With my wife's
I like how you made that sound like such a shocker for yourself. I have a wife.
Yeah, it's weird. I've got married. But yeah, with her sister, and like she's 22 now. So, like, she wasn't even born. And I was sitting there watching Karate Kid 2, and it was just like, I was kind of going, me and my brother and sister used to play the video game of Karate Kid 2. And you had this thing where you were he's trying to break the ice, and you had to shake the joystick loose, and then he would cut the ice and stuff with his hand. And there's a bit in it where there's all these kids sort of running around him, and I was like, holy shit. And I was like, those kids are probably my age now, because Karate Kid 2 is 1986. I was like 5 years old, and I was like, holy shit, those kids are probably 40 to 43 years old now. And it was just like, wow, that's an old film, man. But yeah, definitely worth a watch. Even the third one's not too bad and stuff. I haven't seen the fourth one where it's with the girl, but yeah.
Hilary Swank.
Yeah. I never watched it. I might get around to it and stuff, but yeah, they're for 80s classics, they're definitely worth it. And then Cobra Kai, if you like that and you watch Cobra Kai, you get loads of, all the main characters from it are in it. So it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah.
Okay, Acolyte, give me it.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Let's do this.
I've not. Again, if you're listening to this and you haven't watched it, then I'm not overly bothered about it. And so
I'm not gonna do many spoilers on it.
Yeah.
I won't go through that too much, because, like I say, it's a show that I think a lot of people are now coming round to watching. So, I mean, to me, as I said to you earlier, this was probably from Star Wars Celebration. This was the one show that really, like, from the trailer, really hooked me. And I mean, I saw the trailers for this, the upcoming Skeleton Crew, which is coming up in December, the Ahsoka series, which obviously we've had, that's been and gone, and Andor season 2, which
cannot wait.
They showed a brief piece, because they'd only been filming, I think, for about 2 months at that time. But the Acolyte was the one that just stood out to me, because it was this idea. It's in the
High Republic.
It's in the High Republic. It's 100 years before the Phantom Menace, so there's a hell of a lot of Jedi around the place. They're basically space police, and they are very reactive. They're like, lightsaber first, questions later, kind of thing. And it's quite intense in some places compared to the other Star Wars films and TV shows, because these Jedi, there's not so much like thinking about things. There's not so much, questioning their motives. A lot of them think they are doing the right thing and just go straight into action, and probably not always the best thing, especially when in this series Jedi are being killed. They're being killed by who are they being killed by? We find out at the end of the first episode. So, it's not a big mystery. But then, this person's got a secret master. Who's this big master? We find that out halfway through the series. So the mystery side of it is intriguing, but it's not long lasting. So you don't feel like you're dragging it out too much. But I mean, there's just so much action in this as well, and possibly some of the probably the best lightsaber fights. In particular, episode 5 of the show is just 30 minutes more or less of just lightsaber duel, and
Okay.
it's just
Why
fucking excellent.
why do you think people like I've not seen it yet, and I will watch it. But why do
Yeah.
you think people were so against it? You know, I saw a lot of people just saying it was shit. They didn't like it.
Um, I mean, it depends on what side of the internet you're looking at. So I mean, the cast is very diverse compared to a lot of other Star Wars shows. There is a very mixed cast. So Lee Jung-jae playing Sol, he is he's from Korea. He's a fantastic actor. He learned English to do this part, so good on him. And then we had Amanda Stenberg, who is playing the dual roles of Osha and also her sister,
Mhm.
whose name has just gone out of my head. Fuck's sake, I can't believe I've just forgotten that. So, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so so she's got that dual role, and then we've also got the fantastic Carrie-Anne Moss, who is also a Jedi. And we have Jonas Satamo, who plays Chewbacca in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. He plays a Wookiee Jedi in this called Kelnecker.
Ooh,
And
interesting.
I tell you what, a Wookiee Jedi is just too much fun to see. It's like,
I think there was a
there is
few
some
people kicking off
good
about
acting.
that because it's just like you can't
Mm,
have Wookiee Jedi's, and I was like, well, you can
yeah.
now.
All I'd say is, ultimately, this is all made up. If you don't like it, turn it off. That would be my idea. It's like, if you really have a problem with imaginary people being able to do imaginary things, get out more. Come on.
Yep.
It's like,
I
but
I do need to
I think
watch
it
it.
was that.
I do need
Yeah,
to
I
watch
think
it.
it was that, and also there is a coven of space witches, or as basically as what was going around online, false using lesbians,
Okay.
which is okay, if that's the term you want to go for it, okay, because there is a lot of callbacks to ironically, because even though it's set 100 years after the Acolyte, but there is a lot of callbacks to like Anakin Skywalker's how he comes to be.
Right.
And even funnier, they find a very interesting way of saying midichlorians instead of actually saying it. They call it the M count
All right.
instead of going midichlorians. Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I know what they're talking about. But
Yeah, it's because I've not seen Ashoka either. Because I was always
what?
the only reason I haven't watched it was because I haven't seen enough of Rebels.
Fair
And
enough.
I didn't want to sort of like I started watching Clone Wars and I didn't really like it because it just I just couldn't sort of get into it. And I was being told that it takes a while. You sort of have to, you will get into, and the further on you get it, the better it gets. So I wanted to get into that and then do Rebels, and then I could get all the references from Ahsoka.
Hmm.
And I just didn't want to watch it and be completely oblivious to a lot of the stuff that's going on. So I've left it so I can sort of maybe go back, watch those, and then sort of kind of get it. But it's getting to that point where it might be too late. But it's on the card of things I need to do. So it's like watch Rebels, then watch Ahsoka, so I can get the references. Otherwise, I'll just be watching it completely oblivious to certain things I should do it, and then have to Wikipedia them afterwards.
But I mean, I'll tell you what, though. I mean, even if you went to the Acolyte with very little knowledge of Star Wars, I think you could easily watch it. You
Yeah.
could get through it
Well,
absolutely fine.
again, it doesn't have any major, other
No,
than sort of knowing some basic canon.
yeah,
I don't think you really need a lot for it, do you?
mm. Yeah, no, and I think that's it. As long as you have a basic understanding of what Star Wars is, you can enjoy it. And it's just like the acting as well is really done well. And I mean, I keep saying his praises because I think he's a fantastic actor. But Lee Jung Jae in particular is just awesome. And Manny Jacinto, who is from The Good Place, he is excellent in
Okay.
it. Jason from The Good Place, and I mean Good Place as well. If you've never seen that, very very much worth watching. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't want to talk too much on The Acolyte because I think it's one of these shows that I really enjoyed. I can see why a lot of people have problems with it, but I know a lot of people are sort of lamenting now, going, "Oh well, maybe I should just watch it, maybe." And I think a lot of people now are enjoying it. So yeah,
Okay.
hopefully
Yeah.
that'll change.
So what else is on your list? Yeah, you had a long
Oh,
list. What else is on your list?
Yeah. So speaking of Squid Game, we finally had announced, and probably very very expected. We have season 2 of Squid Game coming out
Indeed,
very
yes.
soon. Well, very soon. 26th of December is season 2. And with that, they've also announced season 3 coming out in 2025 will be the final season of the show, which is good. I like it if a show has its trajectory, it knows where it's going. I'm fine with that. I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed the first season. I didn't see it initially. I remember a few weeks after it first came out, a lot of people talking about it. I saw a couple of trailers. I was like, this just looks a bit weird. It almost looks a bit like a massive version of Saw, really. It's like, well, these people are just going out and just basically just doing games and killing themselves. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, Netflix can still deliver on some good shows.
Is he returning?
Yeah, he's returned. Yeah, he's like one of the only ones that survived the first season.
Oh yeah, I suppose, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be good. I want to see. I'm going to be interested to see how they go forward, because even the guy that created the show didn't want to do another season initially, but Netflix flashed that money. It's like, yeah, I guess I can write another.
Well, that's it. It's one of those ones where what's another one where I was thinking there was one where there's a film and there's only going to be one, but because it's done so well, they're thinking about doing another. Oh no, Shogun. The series of Shogun.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Yes, because they want to do another 2 seasons.
They want to do another 2 seasons, and I'm just like, how do you do that? Because it's based at the end of the Shinjuku Civil War period. Even I hope I've pronounced that properly. If I'm wrong, my apologies. But basically the Civil War. It's at the very end. If they do anything after it, it's going to be, if him, what's his name? It's not Obinaba, it's Iyasu. Obviously it's his name of Toranaga, I think is his name in the series, but he's based on a historical character called Iyasu. And Iyasu, apart from dealing with after he becomes shogun, he deals with the heir, who he's been looking after, inverted commas, who he doesn't kill. He basically, there's a rebellion with that, and he sort of puts that aside. Apart from that, there's not a lot going on afterwards, so they need to maybe go back in history and do the start of it.
Could do like a Godfather 2 situation.
Yeah,
could do a bit of back and forth.
Yeah, they could maybe go. They could possibly do that, but the problem you got, like, Shogun was really good. Like, I really, really enjoyed that. It was, well shot. I'm kind of glad they didn't, so the battle of I'm gonna get the name wrong. Suragahaya, is it? It's I think it's Suragahaya. I know about the battle because I've done some learnings about it and stuff, but the name it is called Battle of Sekigahara. Sorry, Sekigahara. Wrong. I was close. Sekigahara. But I'm kind of glad because he just says in the series, and then I will fight at the Battle of Sekigahara and stuff, and it's a very interesting battle, and there's a lot of stuff around it and how basically he won that battle and stuff, and it's all down to another clan chief who name completely escapes me, but basically he's sort of waiting in the wings, kind of seeing who's going to win. And then Iyasu's guys sort of go, he says, basically gets his arquebusers and says, shoot at them. So they shoot at him, and that sort of spurs him forward to actually do something. And then that's how they win the battle. But I'm kind of glad they didn't show it. I'm kind of glad they didn't go into a massive in-depth into the sort of the battle itself, as much as I like a good battle scene, because they never do them justice, and that annoys me. So I'm kind of glad they missed it. But the series itself, the way they portrayed sort of Japanese sort of life in that period, the whole thing was, it was spot on. Really, really well done. Apparently, they even got them speaking in a specific way. They say it's kind of like Japanese Shakespearean language and stuff. So the way they had to speak, even the ones who spoke Japanese had to learn a different way of speaking, because it was obviously at the time it was slightly different, and it's really well done. So I kind of hate it when they get these new they go, oh, this was successful, let's do something else, and then it starts to water it down. It's like it was like Westworld. Westworld was perfect. First season was amazing. Second one was okay, got slightly worse. Third one wasn't great, and I just don't want them to do the same thing, and then it takes the edge off what came before. If they just
end it, though, that's what shows do. As soon as they've got any little bit of popularity, they will cash in on them, even if they're not expecting a franchise. I mean, I was actually talking about, I know it's a completely different show altogether, but think of Supernatural, because that show just didn't seem to end. That was 15 seasons they've done of Supernatural, and I remember watching it. I watched it up until the end of season 5, because I think that was originally meant to be where they were going to end it, and it was nice. It really ended really well, and then they just went, "Oh no, we're doing another season." And it just carried on and on and on.
It's like The Walking Dead as well, isn't it? It was like 11 seasons and spin-offs galore. And
I still haven't seen. And the thing is, my love for The Walking Dead. I still haven't seen any of the spin-offs.
I got bored of it after, I don't even know what season it was, basically when Carl died, effectively, and I was just, I'm done with this now. It wasn't because Carl died, I was just getting bored of the formulaic way it was sort of being set out, and I was just like, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, had they just made it like 10 episodes in a season, and sort of shrunk all that sort of exposition for some characters you don't give a shit about, and sort of just did it that way, I think it would have been a lot more interesting. But there was too much gumph in the middle, and it just wasn't interesting. And it was just like, something good's going to happen at the start, something decent will happen in the middle, and then you have a sort of big thing at the end, and that's all I cared about. And as much as I hate it when Pete talks about, he watched Cobra Kai and he watches the first episode, he watches the middle episode, and he watches the end episode, and I hate that sort of thing. I was kind of doing the same with Walking Dead, because there were so many episodes. There was always chaff in the middle that I just didn't care about and had zero impact on the series. And I just sort of wanted to hear what happened, where they were going, and what was going to end. And it was just getting so formulaic by the end of it that I was just like, I think I'm done with this. I remember sort of sitting there with my housemate at the time and just going, we're going to watch Walking Dead, and both of us were like, when it was a good episode, we'd be sitting there watching it. When it was a bad episode, we were literally just both on our phones, like, every now and again popping our heads up to see what's going on, and then just scrolling around on our phones, because it just didn't do anything.
I mean, the thing is, the last season, I think, really picked it up. It was a much better collection, and the problem was that they knew they were coming to an end, so they put so much into that last season. They wrapped up so many stories, but then they announced about 6 months before it finished, oh yes, we've got 3 spin-offs that are coming. It's like, well, so it's not really ending then, because you're gonna take these characters one way, you're gonna take these characters another, and then they're probably still going to intervene. They're still going to bring probably other ones back. And it's like, well, I'd rather they just said, that's it, that's done. Because I love the comic of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I think that last comic is still one of the best things I've ever read in fictional media. Because it just lands perfectly. They give it such a nice ending. They tie up pretty much every storyline. They give you, like, it goes with a bit of a time jump. It in the comic, spoiler alert if you've not read them, Carl is actually alive in the comic still. He doesn't die as he does in the show. Funny enough, the final issue, Rick dies.
Right,
He gets, and bear in mind that Rick Grimes, he went through everything. He went through so many different powerful antagonists. He fought wave after wave of zombies, and basically he just gets taken out by probably one of the most unlikeliest people. And because you don't see it coming, you go, oh shit, like, that's that storyline done. And then they go forward, I think it's like 20, 25 years into the future. So you've got Carl as a full-grown adult, and he's going around the town of Alexandria. He's seeing people, faces that you recognize. There's even like a very nice bit where he goes to the house that Negan went to, because they more or less like banish him towards the end of the comic, and you don't know whether or not Negan's still alive or not. So he goes knocking at his door. There's no answer. He sees the baseball bat. He sees Lucille just sitting outside,
Yep.
and he just goes, well, I hope everything's okay. Walks away. And do you know what? Like I say, that book was just fantastic. And then the show just goes, we're finishing. Oh, stay tuned for next year, because half these characters are now going to be in other shows.
That again, it's just overdoing it. It's being greedy, and it's like, are people that interested in it? Well, obviously, there has to be some sort of interest to keep it going. But is it just people thinking,
I think because there are some really good characters. I know a lot of people wanted more closure with Rick and Michonne, because they obviously ducked out in the later seasons, so they wanted to try and get their story going. Okay, that's fine. Daryl, probably the standout character of the show. I understand why they wanted to keep him going.
Yeah.
But then there's also another one which had Negan and Maggie join up together. It's like, two people that absolutely hated each other. Oh, now they're going to team up now because they have to.
So, talking of, and actually, this is a good segue on another thing. Obviously, Negan, sort of. So the boys.
Yes.
God, I forgot his name.
Negan.
Yeah. Oh no.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I'm horrendous with names. It's really bad. But yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Obviously, he's in the new series of the boys. Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
I have. I have seen it. And do you know what? It's one of these things. That season, there were some bits I was very unsure of. There was some. I think there was a good few pacing issues in it, but I mean, overall, like any season of the boys, it knows how to hit that side of the of the superhero genre. It knows how to really dig in, take the piss, have a laugh, and
it's very on the point on on today's politics.
Oh yeah, oh god, especially the last episode.
Yeah,
was just 4 days after Donald Trump had his had that assassination attempt.
Yeah.
And then they had to put the whole disclosure over on Amazon to say, yes, just so you're aware, these things do not reflect real life. It's like, well, hang on, this was shot over a year ago. Of course it doesn't.
Yeah.
But then I guess obviously certain sensitivities do have to be addressed. Tenacious D.
Yeah. I heard a lot of people moaning about it. Again, it's just like, oh no way, this is going to be. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Not the best season, but not bad.
The new cast additions, I think, really made it well. Especially Firecracker, who is just probably one of the most mental characters that, and that's something for the boys, because there's been some proper crazy personas that have been present, but just how mental she is, how much she wants to get Homelander's approval, and she actually does various things to herself to make sure that she gets him on his side. In particular, she takes a concoction of drugs and other bits, so
she can lactate.
That was Yeah, because he goes, I'm not interested in you sexually. I was like, I think I know where this is going now. And all of a sudden, yeah, a shot of milk. It's like,
As
Jesus.
as a character though, like Homelander, um, is, Anthony Starr, um, just plays him amazingly. Like you
He's
can,
so good.
it's just as a bad guy, he is just so unhinged, and it's like I watch it, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
because you don't know what he's capable of and what he's going to do, and he's obviously fighting with himself, and it's just, as a bad guy, it's phenomenal. Like, he is
I would
so
say,
good, and he's played so well.
yeah, I would say this season in particular, I think has really highlighted some of his character, especially when he goes back to, like, his well, I say his home, basically his former prison where they experimented on him,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he basically just rips them apart one by one.
Oh
That
man,
is
you're right.
that
The bits
that
where he,
episode is so tense.
yeah, where he just sort of he he gets the guy. He was just like, oh, he starts playing paper with the guy. He says, oh, like, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, you taught me how to play this game when I was over there in the oven. And then he gets the guy to sit in the oven, go in the oven and stuff,
Yeah.
and he just tortures them one by one and stuff. And it's just like, fucking hell, it's unhinged, man. And it's just like, again, it's, you don't know what's going on with it, and he plays it really well. The actor allegedly is not the most stable, in from what I've read.
He's apparently been done for a few different things, and I just go, classic Homeland.
Yeah, well, again, he plays it really well, and it's just sort of like, there was one where he's being interviewed, with the guy who plays the Deep, and like, they're asking questions, and I think it's directed towards Homelander, but the guy, I can't remember the names. I'm horrendous with names and stuff. But,
Chase Crawford, I think, is the one that plays Deep.
Okay, yeah. Chase Crawford.
Yeah.
He answers, and you can, like, it zooms into, like, Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, and he's got that twitch and that eye, that thing that Homelander does. Like, dude, this was my thing, and I'm trying to hold myself together right now, and it's just like, They picked the actor really well, and yeah,
he has got that intensity to him, and like, especially when he does, like, because he does do a lot of acting without even saying a word, just that face, just that, like that.
Yeah.
But it's almost like he's biting his lip as well. That look, it's like,
yeah, it's just, it's really good. It's just, it's so on the nose when it comes to, and I understand why some people don't like it, because it is too on the nose, and they're seeing themselves in these things, and they're like, it's exactly this. This is exactly what it is.
Yeah, and I think there's two things from this season, if we're going to take away from it, flying animals.
Yes,
which is
sheep.
that was just fucking insane.
Yeah.
And then just when they're dropping from the skies, fucking yeah.
And obviously Butcher's, Carl Urban, Butcher has just fully given in to Jeffrey Dean Morgan's I can't remember what his sort of, it's basically, he's an old sort of CIA buddy who's dead, but is basically in his head now, and he's the one who's given him these powers to sort of do that thing. He's fully given in to him.
It's the powers have manifested his character, because they do go, well, hang on, no, I actually died 10 years ago. I'm in your head, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. And then he's got massive tumorous powers that come out of his chest.
Yeah.
Kill everyone. And
I wasn't expecting the sort of, because obviously the whole thing is that oh god, what's the name? There's the brainy
Sister Sage.
Yeah, that's it, Sister Sage. She obviously planned the whole thing, and him Butcher doing that, it was just like, a part of the plan. I was like, oh man, I did not see that coming at all, and it was just like, that was mad. Part of me, like, because I know the way the comic books sort of end, I very much doubt it's going to be anywhere like that at all, but I'm not sort of unhappy about it, because I kind of like where this one's going at this moment in time anyway. So, it's not one of those ones where I go, well, it's not like the source material and stuff. I'm happy enough with it.
I'd probably say the cliffhanger as well, just, Homelander more or less coming into the White House, and then they're rounding up each one of the boys.
Yep.
That for me, I was watching, I was thinking, holy fuck.
Yep.
How do you now top that? How do you now go into next season resolving that? And
Exactly.
that was just incredible, because you know, so many different things happen. So obviously gets picked up by one of the soups. Frenchie gets taken over by the girl from Gen V, and he's more or less brainwashed into, just going with them. And then Huey gets taken away. Starlight manages to escape. But what I thought was weird, obviously Starlight escapes capture, but they didn't go for Kimiko.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah.
So they just let her go, and I thought, well, hang on, she's probably the most powerful one out of them all.
Yeah.
Why would you not try and take her out of the equation?
Then you got A-Train as well.
Oh, well, that was it, because A-Train disappeared.
Yeah.
I think Maver's going to return next season.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think there's going to be, well, unless the stories are true and the actress left because of Anthony Starr again. Damn you, Homelander!
Okay, right.
Because that was a story going around a little while ago. Because people thought that that she was going to be in the new season, even if it was just like an episode or a cameo or something. But there was a story going around that apparently she kind of wanted to leave because of his behavior and his attitude on set. I was like, oh God, please don't be another one. Please at least let us get season 5, then cancel him, please. That's
the one thing that really annoying when you've got, again, it's all rumors. You don't know what he's like and stuff. And I've never met the guy, so I don't know. But when you find like actors who are really good at what they do, and then they turn out to be not so good in person, and you're just like, oh, it's so upsetting.
And what I think that really did hit me with Jonathan Majors, because I thought he was fantastic as Kang the Conqueror, but he'd also just been in the new Creed film at the same time.
Yeah,
and I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, he was good in Creed. I quite enjoyed that one. Yeah.
Shame about that.
Yeah.
But going back to the boys, I mean, season 4, I enjoyed. I did enjoy it. Probably not as much as previous seasons, but I thought it was still really good. And unfortunately, like anything else, there are people online that will pick things that probably have nothing to do with the show. In particular, there was a lot of stories about Erin Moriarty and her supposed new face. Which to me, it's like, why do you fucking care?
Yeah, it's one of those things. She can do. It's her body, her feel. Yeah. She can do whatever the hell she wants to do. It's up to her, and if she feels that makes her feel better, empowered, brilliant. I, personally preferred the way she looked previously, but that's just my opinion. And that sort of, it's basically, it doesn't matter what I think. It's how she feels.
That's it. It's not us. It's not our money. So that's the end of it.
You do what you do.
But yeah, no. Boys season 5. I know we're still probably looking at about middle to end of 2026 before that comes out, but. Oh, it's going to be a good one.
Well, there's going to be a lot for them to, with the new election coming up. There's going to be a lot.
That's for them to get over. I'll tell you what. I'm glad we're not a political podcast, because Jesus Christ, that could be a good 10-hour one there.
Oh, mate, don't talk about it. I've been sort of arguing with idiots on the internet for the last sort of kind of couple of days, where all the nonsense happened everywhere and stuff. There was riots, we're not going to get into it, but there was riots in Manchester, and I was in Manchester the other day and stuff, and it's just like.
But the worst thing is not the worst thing, because I could probably think about 100. Donald Trump in particular, the last few times that he's come up on these things, because he's obviously like slagging off Kamala Harris really badly. He's being proper horrible, just like he is. But one thing he keeps referencing, which I don't get, he keeps referencing his friend, the late great Hannibal Lecter. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, why?
It's weird, man. He's just
he's done it. I'm not saying that Joe Biden was any better, but Donald Trump has fucking lost it. He's definitely, there's whatever he's being allowed to do, whatever they're saying, oh no, he'll be all right. I'm sure we can keep him going as he is. No, he needs to be locked away. He needs to just be out of the picture altogether.
Yeah,
Jesus.
again, I think we could probably carry on for another hour and a half with that sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
no, that's what I'm saying. We're not doing political podcasts.
we'll leave it. Yeah.
But join us for political pride next week. Oh God. Do you know what I think? Because I think we've been through quite a few things. I want to make mention to one thing, and it's quite a recent-ish. I'm about halfway through it. Amazon last week they released a new Batman animated series, Batman Cape Crusader.
I've seen it. I've not watched it. Yep.
I've just finished episode 5, and I tell you what, I'm really enjoying it. It's
who's playing? Who voices Batman?
It's an actor called Hamish Linklater. I've never really heard of him before, and but he does do a good job. And this Batman is very like in the shadows. This is a Batman that doesn't get, from what I've seen so far, he's not getting a lot of screen time. There is a lot of time dedicated to the rest of the cast, a lot of the characters. It's very episodic, so there is quite a good running narrative all the way through.
He's in the 2005 Fantastic Four.
Oh,
yeah. So he's I'm looking at other things he's been in.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing. He's obviously in the new Batman, Midnight Mass, Fantastic Four.
But but the cast in the Batman Cape Crusader is actually really strong. Alfred's played by an actor called Jason Watkins, which if you don't recognise that name, just look him up on Google. He's been in loads of TV shows. He's one of them faces, one of them actors that just pops up almost everywhere, and I think he does a good job.
What was his name? Sorry?
Jason Watkins. Yeah.
Got Jamie Chung as Harley Quinn. Minnie Driver is.
Yeah, Minnie Driver plays a female version of the Penguin.
All right. Okay. Cool. Deirdre Barter is in it.
Yeah, he plays Two-Face. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's quite a good cast. It is a very good cast, and it's how they represent some of the characters as well. How they give them quite a different spin. In particular, their version of Harley Quinn, which, as I've just got to the halfway point of the series, there's quite a big shift in what's going on, quite a big change in the story, which I won't spoil because I think it has to be watched. But I'm really enjoying the show, and considering this show has been co-produced by Matt Reeves, who gave us the Batman in 2022.
Yep.
I really enjoy this. I'm really liking it, and I'm surprised that this almost got cancelled, because I think this is probably one of the best DC animated shows for a long time. I think it's great, and I reckon. I really hope that we're going to get more episodes as well, because I know I've still got half the series to go on this. I've still got 5 more episodes to go on this, but I reckon I'm going to get through them really quickly. And it feels a lot like Batman 1990s, so there is that kind of like feel to like the Kevin Conroy version of Batman, but it's not like standalone episodes. There is a good running narrative all the way through. There is a lot of consequences to it. So yeah, I'm really hoping this is going to be the start of hopefully a good long run.
Yeah, Haley Joel Osment from AI and the Sixth Sense fame's in it as well. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was in Forrest Gump. He was the kid in Forrest Gump as well. My God, man! Like he's like pretty much any sort of. He was a kid in every film.
But there was a lot of child actors that were like that, and you'd go, oh, he was in such and such. Oh, he was in this as well. Because what was it? The Jake Lloyd from Phantom Menace. He also was in Jingle All the Way.
Oh, shit! Right?
Yeah. Which I never really clicked at first, and then I remember watching Jingle All the Way a few years later. Fair enough. I think I watched it just after watching her Phantom Menace, and I was like, "Oh, that's the same kid."
Yeah.
Wow. I like things like that, especially when I don't recognise the first time around, or it's later on you go, "Oh, I didn't realise so and so was in this and that." And
it's mad. We look at this thing. He's 36 now, and you sort of think about these things, it's just
Well, he was in The Boys as well, weren't he?
Yeah, he was.
Osmond?
He was in The Boys. Yeah.
Because he was playing again a former child actor.
Yeah, he was. I love the way they have those sort of meta jokes and things.
Why not? Stick with what you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in that Batman series, John DiMaggio as well plays Harvey Bullock.
Yeah.
Which is another good performance. But yeah, Jamie Chung, who is a fantastic and I think a very underrated actress as well. Yeah, her portrayal of Harley Quinn is really good. It's a very human portrayal. It's a very this isn't a character who is like bogged down by the Joker. So it's
Christina Ricci's in it. Ricky's in it as well. So she's
I think
Addams Family, Wednesday
Christina
Addams
Ricci,
Family. Yeah.
Did Christina Ricci play? I think she played Catwoman in it. I can't remember now.
Yeah, she's Catwoman.
Yeah. Because I've watched through so many of the episodes, and it's like I'm trying to remember who was who in all of them. But and there is some, like I say, there's some good twists to the characters. Harley Quinn in particular, Clayface one as well is really good. But like I say, you need to if you guys want to see this, get up on Amazon, have a watch. All 10 episodes of the series are on there now, and I really hope we will get another season of this at least, because it's, like I say, it's really refreshing. And bear in mind the amount of Batman media we've had, in particular in like the last couple of decades. This for me stands out as possibly the best. I think this is probably the best Batman show since the 1990s animated series, and that still for me is probably my favorite ever cartoon.
Okay, high praise indeed. I will stick that on the list of to watch. In fact, I was trying to think of something I could watch later. So yeah,
add that to the shows that you'll probably not get around to because you've got too many on the list.
Yeah, well, I've got a lot, and it's just sort of kind of forcing myself into, like, the Acolyte I definitely want to watch and stuff, but it's partially because my missus isn't a massive Star Wars person and stuff. So, and if she gets in, I start watching something, and she's not watched it, then she starts asking loads of questions, and I send myself having going back and forth and stuff. So I'll probably watch it when she's sort of gaming, and I can sort of get around to sort of hammering it myself.
I normally have that with my partner when I think the worst time is when you're watching Doctor Who, and she'll ask a question, and I'll pause it, and I'll go, right, okay, this is such and such. She'll, all right, press play. As soon as I press play, she starts talking again. Pause it again. It's like it'd take me about a good 2 hours to watch a 1 hour episode. It's frightening.
Part of the thing is I don't mind sort of like explaining things, but then it's like, like she's very much in that when we're watching films, and even films I haven't seen. Like we were watching what did we watch yesterday? Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and she's asking me questions about it, and I'm just like, I don't know, I've not seen the film either. So I don't know.
I quite enjoyed that film actually.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Obviously opened up to other ones coming along afterwards and stuff. And,
I think that was always going to be good. But I was thinking about this. I think this year I've only really seen 3 films in the cinema, and that's, for me, that's quite low. I used to almost go cinema on a weekly basis. So I've got like a group of friends, and we a guy called Mike and a guy called Conrad and stuff, and we Mike Conrad's on a D&D stream. Mike, I'm not sure if he may have been on a podcast many moons ago, but he very, very nice guy, really funny guy. I've known for a very long time. And we go to we've got cinema buddies, and we just go off and watch sort of films and stuff together. But again, because I've just been married recently and all the other shit with that's gone on, I haven't been able to do that recently. So Deadpool was the first one we'd seen together in a while. It was good just to go out to the cinema with your boys. Yeah, I still enjoy that. I mean, the only 3, only 3 films this year that I've actually seen in the cinema: Deadpool and Wolverine, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Argyle was the only other one I've seen cinema this year.
What was Argyle is the
Henry Cavill one.
Yeah. What's that like? Because I haven't seen it yet. Is it any good?
I quite enjoyed it, but I thought it was silly. I don't think there was a lot of substance to it, but I found it was really fun and really funny.
Yep. I watched the Ungentlemanly Warfare.
I want to see that. Yeah. I haven't watched that yet.
It's okay. It's it's a bit over the top.
It's kind of bad that Henry Cavill was getting involved in so many different films and series that he's not really getting a lot of attention on. There's not really a lot of love for him, and probably his most high-profile role is 20 seconds playing Wolverine. So
yeah, and it'd be interesting because obviously there's that sort of gauntlet being thrown down. DC have abused him, and so now that he hasn't been given a position within sort of the DC's new universe, Marvel might sort of take advantage of that and give him that. There's the whole thing with the Warhammer 40,000 universe and Amazon, which is, there's lots of rumors about how it's falling apart, which will be a shame, but I think it's more the fact that because he's a massive fan, doesn't want them bastardizing it and stuff. So he's allegedly putting his foot down a lot of stuff and saying, well, I don't want to do this if you're going to do that. So we'll see. Again, all rumors. Nobody knows anything for sure at the minute. So it's just, they've got a year to sort it out apparently. So I would really enjoy them to do something, because there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of story within that they can do, especially the Horus Heresy side of things. There's a lot of stuff they can do, and I would love to see Henry Cavill do that, because I'm sure he'd fucking buzz off it. Like, it'd be just his perfect role. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yes, wait and see.
I mean, I'm hoping that he is going to have a big comeback soon. I really, I mean,
just because he's a nice guy. He's just a nice guy.
But to see him drop out from The Witcher because he thought he was going to go back as Superman, and then for them basically go, no, we don't want you as Superman, and then just chuck him out that side. I think he's had such a rough deal in the last few years, and then Argyle didn't do well in the box office. Like the other couple of films he's been in as well in the last year have not done too greatly either. And then it does show that he is still loved by many people because of that Wolverine cameo. That's, I know it sounds silly, but to see people reacting to that as much as they did, I think was great. And
again, I think that's what he's done. I think sort of Ryan Reynolds, who's helped write a lot of it, he's given these little snippets from these other characters, old ones and new ones, talking about obviously Gambit, so Channing Tatum's Gambit, and obviously Henry Cavill's Wolverine. It's just like, well, this could be a thing. You could do something with this. I hope Marvel do give him something. I don't know, Captain Britain, or if they could do, if Hugh Jackman really doesn't want to do any more Wolverine stuff, then I think he would make quite a good Wolverine. So, but there's a lot of Marvel characters he could do well, I reckon. So we'll see. Yeah, see what happens.
But
right, okay. Well, I feel like we could probably chatter on for quite a bit. But it's been good to have you back, Jonjo. I feel like I think you need to be back a bit more often. It's good to have you have your.
You need to invite me.
Yeah. Well, it's just
the amount of times I see a message come up going, "Oh, Geek Pride has gone live."
Well, yeah, I think we just got to a point where we were saying we're having a podcast, and then it was just me and Pete, and we were doing guests, and so like people were busy, so we just got to the whole thing. It's like, we'll just do it ourselves. But I will make an effort to invite you and some of the other ones more often, because it's good to have some new faces and an old hands back again.
I mean, for how much we've been through tonight, I think I've probably done my quotation there for the next year. I've gone, but do you know what? I mean, there's so much stuff I think still coming up in the next few weeks. Didn't even mention Umbrella Academy, because that's got its final season coming out in a few days as well.
Yeah. Again, that's one that I've been on the list and haven't got around to seeing and stuff. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll just do it instead of having, because Pete's pretty on ball with when it comes to guests and stuff. Maybe we'll just have one week every sort of couple of months where we just have a catch up with you lot, and then just sort of we can talk about things that we've watched and say.
That's it. We'll just go through the list and go.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, we'll leave it there. It's been a pleasure, Jonjo. Thank you very much for spending some time with us again. Thanks again for coming up to my stag do. It was really appreciated.
Oh, yes.
We'll hopefully see you again soon. For tonight, I've been Matt Geary. With me, my co-host has been Jonjo Cosgrove.
Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun.
Good night, everybody.
Mm.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.